And I think one area of life that people really tend to like not know what to do, especially coming out of school, is what do I do with my money? And I think that is a very important conversation to have because it's an awkward conversation. It's a conversation people don't want to have. It's nearly as awkward as politics, which we have somehow spoken a lot about on this show as well.
I thought we'd veer away from it, and always there's just been times we've just talked about politics, like it's just
And that's what people want to know about.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about money. Let's talk about what we're doing with it, because I think it's very important that we as Christians steward the money that God has given us well and utilize it well, and make sure we're not wasting it.
Love it.
Okay. I think that's, again, uncomfortable topic. Some people don't want to talk about, but I think we need to. Because I think TikTok is such a big place for how to get rich quick and not talk about, all right, we're Christians, how do we use the money that God's given us?
No, for sure. I think it's it can be an uncomfortable topic for some, pending where they're at with their lives in terms of like their financial status. But I think it's something that's appropriate to address. And I think I'll kick it off by saying that, and it's very easy said than done, but at times we sometimes hold back for some reasons. But we know that the second we do get that pay that comes in, we know that we've got to give to God just the portion for everything that He's given us. You know, it is biblical, it is talked about. Our first, because I know that straight away, for a lot of us, like mine will go to rent, for example. I live at home. So I get my paycheck in and my first amount goes straight to Jono for the rent. You know what I mean? And get feeding me a bit for the week. You know? No, I'm kidding. But I'm kidding. But what that does is, and automatically sometimes I forget to myself, no, it should be in my tithes. And then sometimes like, oh, but we have to pay for this, we have to do this. And the next thing you know, your paycheck sort of slips away by day 2 or within that hour sometimes. So I think it's really important that we as Christians, we do what is the biblical thing to do, and is give to God everything that He's given us in a portion of that. And I think that's the first sort of point in that. And we know that God will reward it, whether it is through money or through any other ways. People like to say, oh, but we give our tithes, going to give us so much more money. It's not about that.
No.
It's not they're going to give you money. They look at, and if it does, great, awesome. But that's not the goal. We don't give because God's going to say, all right, here's $50,000 in your lap kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think the most important part of it is the tithing aspect and giving to God. You know, it's to see it grow in the church, to see it grow in the mission field
Of what He's given us.
of what He's given us.
Yeah.
I think that's the best place to start. I think it's the most important place to start.
You spoke on like stewardship, and I think it's very important that we like young age, doesn't matter where you're at in life, make a budget, bro. If you don't know where your money's going and how much is going here, how much is going there, like what are we doing? Make a budget. For us, for us Christians, the start of our budget is, hey, 10% of what I make, like you said, is going to go to God. Not because if I don't do it, then I'm not a Christian, or like not because I'm not
because I have to.
Not because I have to.
Yeah.
But because I feel that God has given me so much, I ought to give this back to Him.
Yep.
So I'm putting the onus on myself almost. Is that?
Yeah, 100%. Well, then let me ask, why do you?
Why?
You personally, why do you give back to God?
Because He has. Go.
Sorry.
Go.
Just because I it's a common phrase. It's we give to Him because He gave us.
Yeah.
Great. Love that. But that can be just a Christian repetitive statement. So why do you, Brandon, give back to the Lord?
Because I've recognized that God has given me so much. And I'll break this down. I'm not just going to go surface.
Go for it.
God has given me so much in the sense that I've grown up in a household with great parents, with I've had no problems through my life. And not to say that if I did have problems, then I wouldn't give to God. But God has blessed me at a level where I'm like, if I was to get all this money through my weekly paycheck and I didn't give to God, like, what am I doing? And it comes, there's a foundation where God sacrificed His Son to die for us. And so I can say I've been blessed in this area, and there might be someone who hasn't been blessed with a loving family but at the end of the day, God sent His Son to die for you too. So you've been blessed with that gift. So it doesn't matter who you are, you've been blessed with that gift. And based upon the fact that God sent His Son to die for me, that's all I need to know, that I'm going to give back of some of what I have.
That's good. Yeah, I like that.
Because I can say I've been blessed, and there'll be other people who combat that with, well, I wasn't blessed. I struggled growing up. But if you set the foundation as God sent his son to die for me, and based upon what he's given me through that, I'm going to give back, then that applies to everyone.
And that's the biggest foundation you can get. Doesn't matter about your financial blessings, doesn't matter about your state of life. And we've all been given the greatest gift of all time, that being God's son.